So what were we saying? AI?
AI.
Yeah. AI is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Makes the digital stuff a lot easier.
A lot easier, and it's kind of crazy to think, in the next 5 years, where will we be? Technology wise, it's like every year they come with something, man, that's just kind of mind blowing. And it takes over a lot of jobs,
Yeah, could definitely do that. That's always a concern.
Right.
I think your job might be a little safe for now.
No. We have robotic zero turns now that you can use a remote patrol
To mow your yard.
and it's GPS navigated.
And how much are they?
They're probably $20,000.
All right, so we got some time. If you get,
Yeah.
I mean, you're working, so with what you do you focus more on residential, commercial, or is it both?
Man, I love my residential because I love being able to interact with my customers more so than anything. Commercial, you're just there. You clean it up and you don't really interact with anybody. With my residential, I get to be one-on-one with the customer, and it's the small things I like about the business, and I think interaction is the biggest. So,
Yeah. So moving forward, you're trying to grow more in that area, pick up more residential clients.
for sure. Awesome. But we want to balance it out at the same time.
Absolutely. So you got started. It's actually funny when you were telling me your wife was pregnant at the time. I said, about when I started, my wife was pregnant. I was like, gotta quit the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
I quit a little too soon.
Yeah.
Probably shouldn't have quit as fast as I did. It worked out though.
Yeah. My mom, I remember telling my mom, and she was like, "You're absolutely crazy." And I was like, "Mom, I just had a feeling. I said, hey, if I jump out here and I give it 100%, it's gonna pay off." And it turned from 10 yards to 20 yards, from 20 yards to 30 yards, 30 yards to 40 yards, and it was just like within a month in between each. And I was like, when do I remember it was the beginning of July, and I was supposed to be going back to work. I had been on leave for 3 months, and helping my wife out. And I remember that date getting closer and closer, my return date. And I looked at my wife. I said, "So, what's where do we kind of draw the line on? Am I fully self-employed, or am I gonna do this 50-50? And I knew if I wanted to start a business, I wanted to give it 100%, all of my time, all of my effort. And I knew if I returned it back to the factory, I wouldn't be able to do that, So it was like, if I can put the work in, if I can get out here and hustle up every day, and it can be successful, it was scary, man. It was, I had a check coming in every week, every 2 weeks. And I was like, this isn't guaranteed money, but it turned out to be much more than,
How long did it take?
we started I got my LLC in January, insured by February. March, we began doing flower beds, and it started off slow. I did a few clients, and I really, I did it in the past, and I just wasn't all the way comfortable with it quite yet. And I got out there, I did some flower beds, man, and they were happy with my work. And the next thing I knew, word of mouth, it was just, it kind of just, that's what did it for me. They started sending me their friends and their neighbors, and I was like, you know what, we're onto something here.
Nice. Word of mouth. Do you have any idea why that worked for you and may not work for somebody else?
Man, I think because I'm personal with my business. I'm not just there to mow your yard. I'm not just there to blow off your driveway. I love to, like I said, interact with my customers, and I think that something that small can make a huge effect. in your business. And, I've not always been a people's person, but what I can say is, when you meet good people and they trust in you and they believe in you and they see your vision and what you want to do as a business owner, and they're willing to back you in that, man, it makes you feel good, man. And so more so I do it for the customers and the interactions and the experiences, for sure.
And how long have you been doing this now?
Man, I used to work for a lawn care company in Little Rock for probably 7 years, and I was making $8 an hour, working 8-hour shifts, and really not enough to do anything with, barely scraping by, and I was fighting addiction at the time, so it was like, it was just barely getting me by, and I've done it for years, man, and I never was able to get off on my own, and so I say 8 years.
To that point, ready to take action, because not a lot of people will do that and quit their 9 to 5 to start something they don't know is going to work.
In all honesty, man, I have a daughter. She's 5 years old, and I wasn't able to provide for her. Like I said, I was fighting addiction, and I wasn't there. I wasn't responsible. I didn't take anything serious in life, and I knew right then I wanted to be the provider, that I was made to be, created to be, I'll say. And I just knew, like, I can't provide for my baby off of like $1,200 every 2 weeks, $1,100 every 2 weeks, and that doesn't do it. True enough, I work way more now than I ever did at a factory, but I feel like I'm building financial freedom, not only for myself, but mainly for my child. That's where we're at. We're trying to build something there. And, when you start at the bottom, it's more personal to you and more personal to you, man.
Absolutely, man. Now I can tell I just feel it coming off of you, like you are a dedicated person. But what I'm wondering, maybe what other people are wondering too, is how you get to that point, because you weren't always this way, right?
Man, it took a lot of falling down and getting back up. It did. It took a lot of everybody counting me out. It took a lot of doubt, self-doubt. I doubted myself for a long time. If you look back at my past, and like I said, I never took anything serious. I never took accountability. It's different this go around. It's personal to me. It's like, man, like I tell everybody, everyone has a different rock bottom. I think rock bottom looks different for just about everybody, right? And when you hit that spot, you have no other option but to dig deep and come out of that. And for me, it was fentanyl addiction, man. My daughter lost her mother. It's a fentanyl addiction, or to a pill, I'll say. And it took that, man. It took my daughter losing her mom for me to get my stuff straight. And sometimes I can't believe it took all that, because after 7, 8 overdoses, it didn't do it for me, and I'm speaking for myself. Me almost losing my life didn't do it for me. It took my daughter having to go through that, for me to say, hey, this is it. It's time to do what I'm supposed to do.
Wow, man, that is powerful. And I think you're right about rock bottom. It looks different for everybody, for sure. But again, I just like to commend you, because it takes someone special, I think, to hit rock bottom and then do something about it. A lot of people, I think, just might live there.
I have a bunch of friends, man, who I had to leave behind. I love them to death. Will always love them. But they're still in that same place they were at 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
You ever try to, I've tried this before, it doesn't always work. You ever try to bring them with you? bring them along for the journey?
I've had one.
Yeah.
I had one, man, and I really tried to help this guy out, and it's out of love, because I want to show you, man, it's possible. You don't have to think like this. You don't have to live like this. You don't have to, but when you've been incarcerated so much throughout your life, it becomes a way of thinking. You get what I'm saying? And that in itself is so hard to break. So hard to break. And I started out at boot camp, 16 years old, and that's where it started. It started there, and then it gradually got worse and worse and worse. A lot of people, man, I never wanted to be that guy, 50 years old, trying to get my life together. You never want to be that. I just lost my dad back in November, cancer, and he was a self-employed truck driver on his own trucking business, man. And I remember he would always gripe at me, and I would call it griping, but he was telling me everything that I needed to hear, not what I wanted to hear. And I'm thankful for that. He was hard on me, but I needed that. I needed that. There's a lot of people in this world, man. If they had that father figure in their life, maybe they wouldn't act out as much. Maybe they wouldn't, So it took me going through a lot, man, a lot. And I think my dad passing recently just lit a fire under me, because he wouldn't want me down and out. He would want me to, turn into something great.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Family can drive you to do a lot of things, good or bad.
Mm-hmm.
And it seems like that's been a big part for you. For your dad,
for sure.
Your dad passed away in November.
It's colon cancer. He fought it for 4 years, stage 4, the whole 4 years. I was there whenever, and I was strung out at this time. I was there whenever he found out he had cancer. And one thing I can say, man, he never let it get him down. You know what I mean? Let him with stage 4 cancer, colonoscopy bag and everything. He never let it get him down. His spirits were never down. Through the chemo and everything, he held his head high, regardless of what he was going through. And it kind of taught me something in the end. Being his rock bottom was that, and he still fought through that, man, as long as he could. So that's why I say everybody's rock bottom looks different, and some people can make it and some people won't.
Yeah. Coming out the other side of this, 5 months into something, or at this point, we're in July now.
We're in July, yeah.
7 months into something that's going well. And what is your mission? What do you want to see come out of the rest of this year?
Honestly, man, it's not about how many properties I can get. It's not about how many commercial properties or landscaping jobs I can land. It's more about how many people can I interact with, how many people can I share my story with, how many people can I give hope to. When I first started my business, I started out and I tried to hire people who were recovering addicts, regardless of how long they've been sober, clean. They were trying to do better, right? And I noticed, and I looked at my wife one day, and it just wasn't working. It just wasn't working. And I looked at my wife, I said, this is my sign that no matter how bad I want to give someone a chance, if they don't want to help themselves, they won't. And they're going to be stuck stagnant, And I made that decision, and, I'm all about a recovering addict because that's where I came from, but I also have a business to run. I also have to protect my brand. I have to, and we're trying to get somewhere where, our clients look at us and say, hey, these guys are honest. These guys show up when they say they're going to show up, and these guys do the job right the first time. We want to keep, our reviews. We look at our reviews. Our reviews are excellent. but it's deeper than that. You know, we like building a relationship where you can call me anytime if your TV goes out. You know, we love helping our older customers who, you know, their husband may have passed and they, you know, they can't get out and do it themselves. That's what I like, man, where they can feel comfortable enough to call me and say, hey, can you come help me with my TV or my air conditioning unit? And, you know, and that I'm big on that, man, because my grandma once had a lawn man who helped her with anything she needed help with, you know, and that's where I named my company is Days of Lawns after my grandmother. And her lawn man, I started helping him mow her yard. Then I said, hey, Grandma, can you buy me a lawnmower for my birthday? I had been 6, 7. And I started pushing mowing all the neighbors' yards with my birthday gift.
And then here you are. How old are you, by the way, Terrence?
28.
28. You were born in 96.
95. I just turned 28.
95. Well, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. It seems like this is probably what you're meant to do. And I love the fact that you were just so, man, how many message you were just so focused on the actual customer. And it makes sense, right? It's not about the service at the end of the day. It's not about it's about being there. I mean, how do you like Russellville, by the way?
Man, I love it, man. I love it. My daughter lives, she's local to Russellville. She lives in the Russellville area. And, you know, when she passed, when her mom passed, I knew like, hey, I need to get closer to my daughter. You know, I was living in Morals and I had just got out of rehab, you know. I just got out of rehab. What's so crazy about it, man? I got out of prison. 2 weeks later, she overdoses, you know. And I was so scared to spiral out of control because I knew myself. And I was so hurt behind what happened because I didn't know she was battling addiction. But I had, you know. So it brought shock to me, you know. And I said, you know what, before I relapse, I'm going to rehab. I finished a 6-month program and said, I'm not ready yet. Went and did another 6-month program. Came home. I started working for a guy plumbing, you know, making a little bit of money. And I slowly started building my life back up. I met my wife. We had a beautiful baby. We started our own business. And it's like, when you're obedient and when you do right, and when you fix everything about yourself and the wrong decisions you choose to make, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but God will bless us. God will bless that, man, every time.
So your faith is a big part of this for you.
Huge, huge. Man, it was one time I didn't believe in God, you know, not at all. There's no way I've made it this far without God. It's His doing.
And just to explore that, what is God, like, what is this to you, God? Is it Christianity? Like,
it's not, if you really get, and for me, it's not about going to a church. It's about a personal relationship. I talk to the Lord on my way here, you know, just to speak through me, because a lot of what I do, I can't do alone. My wife can't help me, you know, my kids can't help me. It's only one person that can help me, man, and who could push me and motivate me and give me this drive that I needed in my life, you know, because at one point, there's a dim light. Powerful stuff, man. Powerful stuff. And serving it, man, it makes me want to tear up. I talk to customers every day, all the time, man, and they want my story, you know? They want my story, and it's like they're shocked as to where I've come from, you know? And it took me a long time, man. I was in and out of jail for 10 years, fought addiction for 8 years. You know, it was a bad situation, man. A lot of times my mom prayed for me crying, you know, just hoping that I would get my life together. And now I have a brother. He's sober now. He watches everything I do.
This is your little brother? It's awesome, man. That's awesome.
I once led him down the wrong road, and now I'm showing him the other side of it. Yeah, he's following, and it makes me so happy, man.
It's incredible. It's amazing what can happen once you start putting your life back on track, and the people it'll affect for a little bit, especially the ones close to you.
For sure. And I'm a lot of what I do, man, I do it for the people that need to see it. Somebody needs to see it. Somebody needs to see that one person who was down and out, I'm talking bottom, lowest point in their life, man, come out and make something of themselves, man, because it's possible. You just got to want it. You just got to want it, man. And God bless it. And God will bless it, man.
You said you're tearing up. I mean, I've definitely felt some emotions during this podcast too. It's just your story it's deep, it hits hard, it's real. And I think you're right. I think people need to hear it. I think that there are people right now at their rock bottoms, wherever that's at for them, that need to hear that. That need to hear is you wake up and start living your life.
For sure, man, because, we're only here for a certain amount of time. Make it count. Make it count. You got family members who love you. There's people who care, and that was my big thing. Is when I was at that point, I felt like no one cared. They cared. They cared a lot.
Yeah. There's always someone who cares.
There's always someone who cares, but you have to care about yourself. I know.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. And yeah, I wish I knew, man. I wish I knew how to get people to wake up. Because again, it's different. Everyone's at a different level and different degree of, for sure, not being awake. But I wish there was a way just to snap and wake people up.
Hey, man,
I've tried.
Hey, one day, I have faith in him, man. One day, I have faith. That's the world we live in. I tell you this, man, whenever my wife told me that she was pregnant, I was scared to death to bring my daughter into a world that we're living in. In all honesty, the good Lord blessed me with her. But at the same time, I was afraid to bring her into the world that we're living.
Yeah, man, it's a world of pain. I got a 3-year-old son, and I know he's going to face a lot of pain. But I just hope that I think this is how I view it. You could either let pain's going to define you, I think, at the end of the day, but you can let it define you in a good way or a bad way.
For sure. I don't, when I say this, I mean this. I'm happy. I won't say happy. I'm proud of what I went through, but as it made me who I am today. I feel like if I never went through anything, I probably wouldn't have, what I needed for life. But sometimes I just reflect and I talk to God and I tell him, hey, I needed that. Took a lot of years, but I needed that.
Yeah. You were a stubborn one, I guess.
Oh, maybe a lot, man. And just about what it was, trying to be something I wasn't, man. Just hanging with the wrong people and wrong crowd, man. And just, it's a dead end road. Mm-hmm. So as soon as you get to hanging with the wrong people, doing the wrong things, you're going to find yourself at that dead end road. And it took that for me, man. And, now I don't have too many friends. I know my friends are more so my clients, because at one point, all of my friends, there was nothing good about it. Even me, there was nothing good about them. And it's made it hard for me, man, to, I feel like, open up, as far as friendships, because for so long I've had a closed way of thinking, simply because of what I've been through in my past and everything. So it's always a battle. It's still a battle. It's still, like I said, I've tried to help recovering addicts, not homeless. It's just like, you want them to do better, but they have to want it even worse. Friends, family, associates, they have to want it worse, man. I wanted it bad. I wanted it bad. I got tired of waking up having to depend on something to keep me going. I got tired of hearing my mom cry. I got tired of being loaded up into an ambulance, being woken up saying, hey, you overdosed. I got tired of stuff, man. I got tired of being honest, you know, and I thought running away from Little Rock would change my situation. I went to California and did the same.
What did you try to do in California? What was the original plan there?
So I used to make music back in the day. I used to want to be a rapper, and so I moved to California. I knew some people. A lot of my family's from California, so I knew a guy who had a studio, full setup, everything, and I went out there and I did write for a little bit, you know, and went back to LL, hanging with the wrong people. I got with the wrong set of people in California, who I didn't even know originally.
Yeah, just went down there and made new friends.
Made new friends, and there we go.
There you go.
Yeah. It can happen that quick, man. It can happen that quick. And that's why I'm big on the people you surround yourself with.
100%. I mean, I don't know if you've done much reading or you follow any, I'm sure you do. I'm sure. Let's talk about that. So obviously we know there's a lot of elements that going on. Your dad passed away, that made you want to make him proud, I guess, and pursue your full destiny. But did you follow were you consuming any content online? Did you fall into any bubble of,
hey, so
you get
definitely
some Goggins up in there?
So they have this guy. He's on TikTok. He owns a company out of Savannah, Georgia. It's called Grow It, We'll Mow It. And man, his content is super good, you know? And I was like, I think what it was he wasn't your typical lawn care guy. He was personable, you know? He was the person that's, you know, and that's what I see. And I'm like, I want that, man. I want that, you know? I not only want to be my own boss, but I want people to see my company and see what we stand for. And my clients will tell you the same thing. Like, you know, I'm that person you can call at midnight regardless. I don't care. You know, you guys help me. I'm there to help you. And it's I think that's what did it for me, man. I followed it before I even bought a mower. I bought the smallest Kubota zero turn you can buy. I think $5-6 grand. I bought it and I was like I said, 5 to 10 yards. I was still going to work at the factory and you know, make this side money or whatever. And so my mower was not built for the properties I ended up acquiring. And I was like, I looked at my wife and said, you know, we're about to have to buy more mowers, right? She was like, we've only been in this 2-3 months, you know? And I was like, I know, this is what we have to do. You know, so it was crazy to me, man. Just where I started, you know, I knew if I took it serious, we were going to get somewhere. But I didn't buy all the equipment that I needed. I bought a used weed eater, used. A lot of stuff was used. My zero turn was the only thing that was brand new. And I was like, things started going out. Weed eater started breaking down. You know, it was getting bad for me for a while. And I was like, you know what? I see it's obvious. The growth is obvious. You know, we need more. You know, I told my wife, I said, we're going to stop at 55 properties for this season. And then next season we'll focus on acquiring more properties. I'm big on not taking no overload, you know, because like I said, I do want to be able to talk to my clients and, you know, be there and, you know, show my face and, you know, and when you have too many properties, you won't be able to do that, you know. It kind of, you know, you're in and out. And so that's kind of how I was raised, man. I was raised a certain way, and I think that's what makes us different.
It's awesome. That is awesome. So And what was the question that brought us to that? Because I had another question to go off that.
It was
We got sidetracked on.
so when my dad died,
Oh, okay, yeah. No, so the channel was called You Grow It, We Mow It.
for sure.
So you started watching You Grow It, We Mow It. You said their content. What do they do in their content? They just like maybe film themselves doing these extra things.
Yeah, no, he gives tips and he shows how to do this and how to do that, and he's super like. He has a video for just about anything you could think of lawn care wise, you know. So if you're on TikTok and you need some type of advice for lawn care, follow Grow It, We Mow It. He's pretty good. I learned a lot from him, just TikTok. You know, because when I started out, man, you know, I was kind of rusty. I hadn't mowed grass in years, you know, since probably 4 years, and like mow grass for a living. And I was a little rusty, man. It was some things I had to critique and to keep my customers happy, you know. And I got on there and I looked at everything and it helped me out so much, man. So I'm big on, you know, when you find somebody who's willing to give you the knowledge that you need, I'm big on opening ears and listening and taking notes and kind of taking little things and use towards my business, you know.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And YouTube has helped you out. Have you ever, or TikTok, I guess in this case, have you ever thought about making videos kind of like him? Or making videos to,
I think so.
No?
I don't think so. My wife said I should do it, but I think so, man. I feel like I'm so busy with, you know, with what I have going on. There's no way I could pull my phone out and just start editing videos. I would love to, you know, I would really love to, but I just don't think I can. But, you know, it's hot out here. The last thing I want to worry about is my phone. So it's like, you know, so I feel like I have content that I want to share, you know, maybe down the road, maybe next season we'll explore it, you know. I won't count it out.
That's awesome.
Won't lose it out. So,
Well, is there anything else you want to say to any part of your message that you feel has been left unsaid? Or
hey, I just want to thank my customers, man. Really, because my very few customers, I think I had 5. And when I first told them, hey, I'm starting a business, this is only gonna be part-time, they were like, hey, give me your cards and give me your, you know, put a sign in my yard. And, you know, they were all for it. Those were the great people who started me off and who gave me, you know, that extra boost that I needed, you know. And so I thank my customers, man. I have some great customers. I don't want to name them, but I have some great customers. And this wouldn't be possible without them and Lord Jesus Christ, of course.
And there we go. Well, Terrence, has been great having you on, man. I just thank you for Russellville, you know, from the community. Be a part of it. Being one of the people that help build something bigger than yourself.
For sure. Man, I'm happy to be here and I'm happy to do what I do. I love what I do and try to make the community beautiful again, you know.
All right. And if people want to follow up with you, they can Google Daisy, or what's the best way for people to get in contact with you? They want to.
Our Facebook page, Daisy Lawn Care on Facebook. You can contact me at 479-880-3050. Email daisy.lawns@gmail.com. We're pretty good at responding and give us a call for a quote.
Man, that's the one thing that most lawn care, but I feel like they're bad at, is actually answering the phone.
No, hey, we love it, man. And I think I get a bunch of complaints from like other lawn care, and that's the biggest complaint. You know, they don't show up or they don't answer the phone or, you know, inconsistency. So I think that was one of my core values was consistency.
That's awesome.
Integrity.
That's awesome. Well, Daisy Lawn Care, look them up. And yeah, Terrence, thank you for being on, man.
Hey, good meeting you. Yes, nice to meet you.